Hello, my fellow chatterers and book game lovers. Yes, all of you who enjoy a good old TBR game. And anyone else who's popped in because you're curious about what this is or you've got a bit lost. Welcome anyway, stick around, enjoy the fun. I am Chatty and this is my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, and I'm going to be chatting away madly about what I'm going to be reading in the month of February. And the main thing I do is I play my TBR game to decide what my book list is going to look like. Tea is good temperature, so I need to keep drinking it before it gets cold. On this channel, I do not edit my videos. It's one continuous shot. So chaos happens on the camera and it just stays there because I'm not refilming. I don't have the time. My laptop is ancient. Anyway, so embrace the chaos, embrace the waffle. We're going to go for it. Hopefully I'm not going to screw up anything when I use the pause button and it's all going to be wonderful. So cheers everyone. Clink, 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 clink. My tiny teacup is drunk. One shot, no editing. Let's crack on with the game. So I am hoping that this is going to be... Oh, I haven't got my B. I'll get my B in a minute. That's my little counter. I'm hoping this is going to be the last time that I'm using the tiny board and doing it like this. I'm hoping that in February I am going to prioritise drawing out this board in big so that when we come to March, the game will be in its brand new big board format. And I'm going to change a couple of things in it as well. There's a few things that I want to sort of change up a bit to make this work better for me. I still want there to be stakes with the game, but also one of my intentions and goals for the year was to read less. And when you've got a reward or punishment resting on hitting a certain amount of books, but there's also some other books you want to read too, it kind of doesn't quite work. So I need to kind of get better with that and balance that out. So here's the board. I'm going to run through the rules of exactly what this entails in a moment because I'm going to talk about the different colours first, because everyone who's seen this game many times already knows the rules, so I'm going to let you skip ahead to the next bit. I am also going to be this thing away. I am also going to be talking about what books I want to get in here because I've got buddy reads and readathons that I am doing. So before I go into the rules, let us look at what the colour cards stand for in this game. So it changes every month. This month I have gone for yellow. If I land on a yellow space, then I'm going to be doing book box bookmarks. So I have, I'll put this down. I have got two book boxes I subscribe to. One's a box, one's more of an envelope with a book in it. But anyway, box sounds better. So one is well known, it's Fairy Loot. Quite a lot of people, especially fancy readers, know all about Fairy Loot. So I have Fairy Loot bookmark here. We have Venus, because it's February. So we've got Goddess of Love, if you're Roman. And I've also got the Shelterbox Book Club. So Shelterbox it's the charity Shelter that run their own book club. So you have to pay over a certain amount of money each month for them to send a book to you. So you get the book and then also you are contributing monthly to Shelter. And the books that they send you are books that are sort of from around the world. So it was really helping me to kind of like widen my literary experience, shall we say. Some books I've absolutely loved and have really surprised me. Other books are not for me because that's not my particular type of writing. But either way, Shelter gets money, so that's great. So one of my goals was to read more from the book boxes because I gather them in and then don't necessarily get to them. So this is like putting these in front of my eyes. So I will, if I land on that, I will be picking one of the book boxes. So pink is, theme card. So theme cards are here, they're ready to go, and I will go into that for people who've not watched this before. Lucky Dip is basically my TBR tin. It's not up to date, so the newest books are not in here, but that's fine because we've got plenty of oldies in there, so it's not a problem. And I am going to be doing it slightly differently this time. So I am going to pick out 3 books from this list, and then out of those 3 I'm going to choose one of them. So that's how I'm going to do it this time. And then we've got Roll Away, which is where I pick 6 of these prompt cards, roll a dice, and the number links to which prompt it's going to be. It just makes it more fun because there'll be ones that I don't want and ones that will work for me. So there we go, and that's going to just stay up there so I can remember what I've said I'm doing. If I can do this without falling over or knocking things over. No, I can't. So let's pause. Okay, chaos averted. And I also found my bee. So, everyone who's seen this before, scurry off. You can skip ahead. Unless you enjoy watching me explain the rules, then sure, stick around. I don't mind. So, I start in the middle of the board, and then I've got 3 squares that kind of come out of it. It's basically snakes and ladders, but because we're bookish, it's book ladders and bookworms. Just ignore the fact they have forked tongues. I wasn't thinking clearly when I drew it. So, I can start off. I've got yellow, green, pink and blue to come out on, and then I have this little tiny square to start off with, so I just roll 1 of my dice for that one, and I can choose which direction to go in. And then once I've chosen, that will then remain as my direction throughout the whole of the game. Words are not coming into the brain. So that's how we start. And I've already explained what the colours mean. So let me show you the 2 prompts I didn't go into. So theme, I have theme cards here. And this is basically something that could be on the title or in the cover. So finding a book that's got air or sky on it, I would then have to find a book that, you know, if it's got a picture of like a landscape, that would count because I can see sky. Or, to name a classic Mary Stuart, if it's airs above the ground, that has air in the title, so I could choose that one. So that's the idea behind those. Prompts, these are sort of like middle of the road book prompts. So they're kind of a little bit challenging, but not too hard. So it could be things like continue a series or read a book that has an LGBTQ plus character as the protagonist. Those kinds of, read a small book, so that's anything like under 300 pages, those kind of things. I then have easier prompts and harder prompts. So that is where the ladders and the snakes come into play. Sorry, words. So book ladders, I've made the start of the ladder, so the top of the ladder, because it's not, you know, there's no top and bottom to this. It's a square that spins. I've made them darker so I can see which one's the top. So for example, if I land here, then that would just count as yellow because that's the top of the ladder, and I need the bottom of the ladder to go up for it to count as a ladder prompt. So if I landed here, that's the bottom of the ladder, and whoop, up I go to the top of the ladder. And ladders, here they are things there where I have a lot more kind of free range to get in books that I want on this TBR. So they're my lucky ladders. Now, what I do, which I'm going to do now, is I've got 10 different things in here. Well, actually 9, because I always use the Feagle card. So the Feagle is inspired by Terry Pratchett's Tiffany Aching series, first one being the We Free Men. And they are little pixie type characters that are very mischievous, and they like drinking, fighting and stealing. So the Nag McFeagles, or the We Free Men, very good at stealing, so I get to steal a book. And by this I mean, when I buy books, I put them under my bed, and I can't read them until I have done enough healthy life choices to have earned healthy points to enable me to get a book. So this is things like going to bed early, flossing my teeth, doing back exercises, trying to eat more fruit, that kind of stuff to encourage me to lay off the Christmas chocolate and stop going to bed at ridiculous o'clock because I'm reading. So that is the Feagle card. So I get to steal a book. So I have Feagle, and then I choose 2 other of these lucky ladder prompts. So this could be anything like, you know, read a book with a beautiful cover, or read an anticipated book. You know, those types of things where it's a book you really, really want to read. So I'm just going to pick 2 and add them. Okay, 1, 2, add them to the Beagle card there. And I'm going to put the other ones away. So okay, so we just got the 3 cards for Lucky Ladder. And I'm going to do the same with my Worrying Worms. So if I land on the head of the worm, then I have to go down the worm to its tail. So the head of the worm is when I pick a Worrying Worm card. If I landed on the tail and you can see it's blue here, then I would pick a blue prompt. So again, Worrying Worm cards, and I've just dropped half of them. So with the Worrying Worm cards, this is the really challenging one. Like last time I got, book with a set amount of words in the title. So I had to roll a dice and I got 6. So I had to find a book with 6 words in the title, which was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So they're really specific and challenging. So we don't want the Worrying Worm cards. Unless it's this one, because I almost feel like it's getting a bit ridiculous now. So when I introduced the One Ring card, I said to people, if you're the first person to say One Ring in the comments, then you get the power to choose a book for me and I have to read it. So it could be anything, like seriously, anything. And I will have to try and track that book down and read it. But obviously I can DNF if it's really terrible. So you can be as nice or as horrible as you want to, or there could be a book you specifically want me to read, or you just want to watch me suffer. So whatever you want to do. So far I've only pulled out one. Mason chose a book for me. And then the next person to call out after I read Mason's book was Tiffany from Towering TBR. And that would have been, so I read Mason's book, that would have been from September. And I still haven't pulled the card out. So Tiffany's been like, I've got ideas for you to read. And I still haven't pulled the card out. So again, I'm going to change this slightly when I come to the new game. But if I get this one, the One Ring, Tiffany has the power. And obviously the One Ring is from Lord of the Rings, One Ring to rule them all. She has the power over my reading choice. So for Worrying Worm, because I'm so tired of waiting for this One Ring, it's only going to be the One Ring, and I will just pick any other card from the top of the pile if I get it again. So I'm not cheating because it's my game and my rules, but if I land on a worm, Tiffany, you get to choose. So there we go. Have I done everything? Yes, I have. Marvellous. We can welcome in everyone else who left. Come back. Hello, I've stopped talking about the rules now. So what I am going to be talking about is other books that I'm hoping to read this month. Also I have a little reward to talk about too. So books I want to read this month, I've got 2 buddy reads. Possibly 3, but I think Vadania and I have decided that we're going to hold off on the Unmapped Chronicles. She's got a lot more stuff to do than me. She's got like a thesis or something. She's got a lot of stuff going on. And I just don't want to be pressured by buddy reads at the moment. So I'm trying not to have too many. So we're probably going to move that to March. So the buddy reads that I am committed to is it's more of a read along, is the Rainwild Chronicles. We're starting. So those are an epic fantasy by Robin Hobb. It is the 4th series in her Realm of the Elderlings. So I'm doing the Hobb-along, which is hosted by Anitha from Anitha Garde, although all the chat is in the Discord of Gregory LePerch. And we have Derry and Evie and Pete as regulars, and then we've had some other people, Hobb fans, popping in to the chat as well on the live show. And it's just been so much fun. And when you're reading Hobb, you need people around you. So I'm really looking forward. We had a break in January, looking forward to getting into this again. So the first book, I believe, don't quote me, is Dragon Keeper. I don't have any of the Rainwild Chronicle books. I have been searching charity shops, but none of them had them. And I'd also been looking in my library and they don't have them either. So Rainwild Chronicles is one of those books that is not going to count for my Read What You Own challenge, because I cannot participate in this read along unless I have a book, and I cannot find the books. So I am going to have to buy these. So we're going to be taking a trip to World of Books to do that. I am also going to be buddy reading The Hunger of the Gods with Mason from Mason in the Dark. And this is a book I'm really excited for because it's the second book in John Gwyn's Bloodsworn saga, and I love The Faithful and the Fallen. I also love The Shadow of the Gods, which I'm currently rereading. So I'm really looking forward to getting that book in with Mason. It may be sort of more towards the end of the month that we read that, and then it kind of trickles into March. I don't know. Obviously, Mason, I will talk to you about that if you're watching. So those are books that I could get on here. Definitely Rainwild Chronicles because of the live show. The Hunger of the Gods is a bit more flexible. Oh, I don't know, unless Mason's suddenly not going to be flexible. I don't know, but I'm hoping it's more flexible. And the other thing that I'm doing, left my notes over there. Okay. So I am really, really excited to be, for the first time, because I've been sleeping under a rock, taking part in Blackathon, which is the readathon hosted by Jessie from the channel at Bowties and Books. And I'm really excited to be taking part in this. So for the first time, she is not doing, for the first time, they are not doing set genre teams. So the prompts can kind of be for any genre, which I'm really excited about because I was wondering, do I pick a team and go for like that one? Or do I pick a prompt from each of the teams so I'm reading a mixture of genres? Because I want to be reading outside my usual fantasy, because I've got lots of kind of books that I'm really hoping to get to. So it's helped. I have picked a team. So the team I have picked is Granny Nanny. And this is a team that is inspired by Nanny of the Maroons. And she was a very kind of like fierce activist and was a leader of the fighting for freedom in Jamaica in the Maroon War. So I also would love to kind of like find more books sort of like on that topic and read more about her. So that is something I'm going to be looking out for as well because she sounds amazing. So the first prompt within the Nanny Granny team is a book with a charming protagonist who is spiritual or has fantastic abilities. I have thoughts. I have thoughts of books. So the book game is going to help me hammer this TBR into place and like narrow down those choices and lock them in. So that is what I'm hoping to get out of this. Prompt number 2 is a protagonist of mixed race and or an immigrant. Prompt number 3 is a book set in Jamaica or on an island. Prompt number 4 is a book that centres on a tight-knit group of friends or some unlikely allies. And again, I have thoughts on all of those and we'll see which ones end up making it onto here. And then each team has got a bonus group book. So there is a book that is suggested that you all read as a group. And the one for Nanny Granny is Riot Baby by Tochi Onyebuchi. And I am very excited for this one because I've heard really, really good things and it has been on my TBR for a good long while now. So this is the push I need to read it. But does the library have this book? No, the library does not have this book because my library doesn't have quite a lot of the books that I'm specifically looking for. So I've also, weirdly, looked in bookshops as well, and this one's no longer available like on the websites of some of the big retailers. So that is disappointing, which kind of makes me want to read the book even more. But I am going to be having to source this from the internet rather than physically buying it from a shop. And again, because it's like a group read, a buddy read for a set thing, I cannot access. It is okay for me to buy this, despite the Read What You Won't challenge. So that is the readathon that I'm really excited to be doing. If obviously everything I talk about in my channel will have links in the description down below. So I will be mentioning the Blackathon Readathon and I will be putting links to Jessie's channel and their announcement video. So please go and look at the announcement video because they explain it so much better than I can, and will tell you about all of the other teams and all of the other exciting things that are happening. Okay, let's do this first roll. Oh no, wait. Talking about my reward. So it's currently still January. I've got like about another week left of January. I don't know how I'm going to be doing because I've got quite a few books I'm in the middle of, and so it'll be like finishing a lot at the end. So we'll see how I do with January. But I kind of use rewards and punishments as kind of like a 2-month like gap in between. So this is the November reward. So in November, I did actually complete my TBR, which is amazing, and got to pull out a reward. This reward was suggested by Melly and Bridget, who goes by BK Barons on the Shelf Space Discord. So both of these read a lot of fantasy, and I have enjoyed doing buddy reads and chatting with both of these. So thank you so much for making this suggestion as a reward. However, this could possibly roll on to March because I don't know if I'm going to be using it for this month. So the reward is I get to replace any book on my TBR with a childhood favourite or a book I'm keen to reread. Now, at the moment, I haven't got anything. Like I did say I'm rereading Shadow of the Gods, but I'm already doing that. There isn't really anything apart from the Percy Jackson series that I'm sort of rereading or I'm planning to reread at this particular moment in my reading life. So I might roll that onto March, because March is middle grade March, and reading a childhood favourite would be a really lovely thing to do in middle grade March. So if I don't feel like using it this month, then I'll just roll it over onto March. But it's a possibility, so that could be a thing I do. First roll. Sorry, I felt I'd been talking. Yes, I've been talking for 20 minutes and haven't even done the first roll. So here we go. 1 dice, 1 board. What's it going to be? It's going to be number 1. Marvellous. Which one do I feel like picking? So let's go with the flexibility of the theme card. Let's see what that offers us. So that is pink. So come on, little bee. Let's start your journey onto the pink part. Okay, so theme cards, and I'm just going to pick one out, and it is going to be this one, which is Royalty or a Crown. So something gives you royalty vibes on the cover or has a crown on it. Currently my mind is a blank. But I wish I hadn't, fingers pointing in the wrong direction. There we go. I wish I hadn't already read on the come up because that's got a little crown emoji on there. So that would have been amazing. Nothing is popping out at me straight away. I'm going to have a rummage. Okay, I feel like I've had final hour inspiration. So I'm thinking that I do not know anything about the Rainwild Chronicles, and I like to keep it that way. But within the realm of the Elderlings, there is a Rooster Crown, is a part of that. There are kingdoms that have a royalty. In the live ship traders, which is kind of the Bingtown kind of, I feel is the Bingtown and the Rainwild is sort of the area we're going back to for the Rainwild Chronicles. And there are dragons which are kind of like fantasy royalty and are treated by some of the people in that way. And there are also rulers within this. So if you've got the Six Duchies Queen, you have got the satrap of Jamila. So that would work for the royalty crown. So I am going for, I think it's Dragon Keepers. So my first book is going to be first book in the Rainwild Chronicles. So yay. So roll number 2, still on that very first square. So just the 1 dice. And it won again. Okay, so I'm going for blue or yellow. What shall I try? Ooh, choices. Do you know what? I really, so stupid. I can't choose. No, just choose. No, I'm rolling the dice. So if it's an odd number, it's blue. If it's an even number, it's yellow. Even, we're going for yellow. Cool. So that is the book box bookmarks. This game is supposed to help me make decisions. Clearly struggle with that. So here we go. I have my 2 bookmarks. I have Shelterbox and I have Fairy Loot. I'm going to put them in there, and whichever one my fingers touch, I will grab it and pull it out. Because obviously they're different sizes, so you can tell which one's which. So literally, which one is this? I've got something, I can't tell. It's Shelterbox! So I'm going to go and find a book that I have received from the Shelterbox book club. So there were a couple of books from my Shelterbox that were written by Black authors, but I chose this one, which is Augustown by Kay Miller. I'm so rubbish with pronunciation. I'm going for Kay Miller. I'm going for Augustown. So Augustown is set in Jamaica, which is one of the prompts for Blackathon. And I know that Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe said that she really wanted to read this book, and if Olivia wants to read a book, that book is probably going to be really interesting, really exciting, probably a bit emotional. So I am keen to read this one and see what it's all about. I'm not reading the back because I like to just go into my books knowing as little as possible. But for all of these books, I will be leaving the story graph links below, so you can go and check them out. And you can also have a look there at all of the trigger warnings if you're someone that wants to know trigger warnings before you pick up a book, because there might be things that you would not enjoy reading about. So there we go, book number 2. Okay, we're ready for roll 3, still on the 1 dice. I've also realised I had it upside down, so I've turned it round. So we're going anti-clockwise because I went for yellow, or rather the dice helped me to choose yellow. And we have a 6. So that takes us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, you were so close there, Tiffany. Right. Green. Green is roll away, which means I'm picking 6 of these prompt cards and rolling a dice to see which one we get. So, first of all, I've just given them a shuffle. First one is Expand My Horizons, read a book by a BIPOC author. So reading a global majority book, this is going to be really perfect because so many I want to read for Blackathon. So it will be a Black author. The next prompt is a book with an animal companion. Nothing's immediately coming to my mind, but I'm sure we can work with it. Number 3, okay, a book that's been recommended in book chats or on social media. Number 4 is read a mouse-length book, which is a book that is under 300 pages. Book number 5, I did shuffle them. Read a cow-length book, a book which is 301 to 500 pages. You're going to get an elephant next? No. The next one is Expanding My Horizons, a book with an LGBTQ plus protagonist or own voice author. Okay. So let's, here we go. Should have paused and then flipped, but hey ho. So at the moment I can't think of an animal companion. I'd have to use my brain a lot to do one recommended in book chats. Mouse or cow length, I'm sure I can work with. LGBTQ+, I definitely have a book in mind for that one. So let's roll the dice and see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's use the blue one. It makes no difference, but just for a change. 4. So that is a mouse length book. So this is where I start pulling off books and counting their pages. So I was wondering if some of the books, that if they weren't going to work, I was going to just decide to just go for reading from cover to cover Sofia Sterker's poetry collection. But then I remembered I really want to start reading the Binti books, and they're novellas, so they must be smaller than 300 pages. So I have the bind up of all the Binti books, plus a short story called, I think it's called, yeah, called Sacred Fire. So the first book in the Binti trilogy is called Binti, and so this book is sort of, let's show you compared to, so it's a bit bigger than your average book. So I don't know what people who have got like a smaller version of this have for page numbers, but Binti finishes on page 56, so definitely smaller. Also amazing, it's a small book. I'm really excited. I've been wanting to read Binti for ages and ages and ages. I've heard such good things from, again, Olivia at Olivia's Catastrophe, and also I think she has an Instagram page, but I'm not on Instagram, but I see her a lot in the Discord, and that is Charmaine, who always said that how good this was. So yay! Right, let's do the next roll. And stupidly, I was so excited I didn't actually talk properly about the book. Binti is by Nnedi Okorafor, and it is a sci-fi. Yeah, I was gonna say I believe it's a sci-fi. It's a sci-fi. So there we go. One contemporary or historical fiction, one fantasy, and one sci-fi. Exciting. Okay, ready for roll 4. Is this going to be the game where we just stay on the one square? 3. Oh, come on. Probably, yeah. 1, 2, 3. It's pink, which is a theme card again. Just made sure I took the last one out. So again, we're going to pick a theme. Please be nice to me. Please work on my behalf. Just going to pick that one. And a person. A person. It's nice to me. It's nice to me. I can find many books with a person. But then the problem is choosing. I know which one I want. I know which one I want. No, I'm going to get it. Amari. I'm so excited. So I absolutely loved Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, which is a middle grade fantasy. This is the second book, Amari and the Great Game. Look at this cover. How gorgeous is this cover? We have got purple, orange and yellow. We've got yellowy fire. We've got a glowing ring. Amari's name is in sparkly gold foiling. And I love the artwork of Amari. And spine is so cool. And then we have purple edges. And then underneath. Oh, I forgot it was signed. Because it goes under my bed straight away. Look, it's been signed by B.B. Alston in a silver pen on this amazing orange end paper. And then we've got some more sparkles underneath in this purple hardcover. Okay, we'll stop gushing now. I think it's quite clear that I definitely want to read this one. Okay, moving on to roll 5. Okay, roll number 5. Still the 1 dice. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 6. Come on, B. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's blue. Oh, haven't had a blue. Blue is Lucky Dip. I think this is the first game where I have used all of the colours. Not had that happen before. Sorry, I've got opening my tin and I've got 2 bits of paper. That's because I chose them previously, but if I don't read them, they need to go back in the tin, which is why they're there. Okay, so in this tin, I have many books. Gonna shake it up. And then I'm gonna pick 3 out, and then I'll tell you what they all are. 1, we've got a red one. The colours don't really mean anything. Orange. Actually, that does. Orange is start of a series. And blue. Okay. 2 standalones and starting a series. Okay, so the red one I pulled out is one I've already read. It's a street cat named Bob. I read that in November. So let's pick out one to replace that. No. Yeah, no, I picked it. I don't know what it says. So I looked and picked, but they're all folded up, so it really doesn't matter. Okay. So the orange one is Beartown. Beartown's on a tea and taste, which I still haven't done because I'm rubbish. Blue is, so Beartown is by Frederick Backman. Blue is Mr. Nobody's Eyes, which is a middle grade fiction. Middle grade, possibly historical fiction, by Michael Monpergo. What's the yellow one? Can't open it. It is. Yeah, I'm reading this one. This is The Prey of Gods by Nikki Drayden. I'm slightly worried about the last roll because it's being really kind to me. So I really wanted to read this for a few months. I think I wanted, once I'd felt like I'd progressed with certain series that I really needed to get read. This was a book that had been calling to me, and I really hoped to pick it up during October, but I never did. And so yeah, this is so good. So The Prey of Gods sounds incredible. It is sci-fi. It's set in South Africa. It has got a bunch of unlikely allies. There's like an angry god. There's an AI that you can see here on the cover holding this. It kind of looks like an umbrella, but what's like hologram. It looks like a holographic umbrella of this girl's eyes, and I feel she's going to be a really cool character. I have read the back of the book, but I haven't read it for a while, so I'm trying not to refresh my brain about anything that happened. So I can't quite remember. I think she could be like a genius or something. I'm not entirely sure. I'm making stuff up now. Who knows? Anyway, I'm really excited for this book. I heard really good things from Courtney at Tangible Reads when she did read it for in October for Blackathon Readathon. And yeah, I'm just so excited about it. This book came into my possession because I ordered from Pondful Books a blind date with a book. So Sophia from the channel Sophia's Thoughts, who is a big fantasy reader, has an Etsy page. And one of the things that they do is they wrap up, it's her and her sister, and they wrap, she buys books from charity shops, and then she wraps them up and does like a little card about what was in it. And I so wish I kept the paper and put it in here, because I think it was like sci-fi, LGBTQ plus character and AI. And that's what I chose. And then I got this and I was like, I've never heard of this in my life. But it sounds amazing. And then suddenly I was hearing about it. So, woo! That's a long and involved story about The Prey of Gods, but I can't believe I pulled that book out the tin. And I nearly didn't, because my fingers touched it and I was like, oh, I've looked. So I'm so pleased I just went with, see, that's obviously, they knew what they were doing. Right, I'll put these ones back in here for now. But you don't need to watch me fold paper. Okay, we are on roll number 6. It's the final roll now. Burp, burp, burp. If I get a 1, Tiffany will be very happy. And if I get a 4, that would be very kind. Let's see. Whoop. It's a 4. It's a 4. It's a 4. Sorry, Tiffany. Once again. There's no one ring. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the last one, we got off the ladder. Off the square via getting a ladder. Okay, so let's find out. Which one am I going to get? Which one am I going to get? I don't know what it's going to be. Let's go for this one, and it is: do you want to try a new author or read more from one you enjoy? Decisions. I don't know. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to have a look at my books and see which one do I fancy putting on as the final book on my TBR. So I have a few that I'm contemplating. So the first one is a YA fantasy by Deborah Fillet, which is Blood Scion. Scion? I never know how you say it. Going with Scion. So this is the lovely fairy looped edition with the blue sprayed edges. And it's been signed. Also, the cover underneath is so cool. Look at that. So yeah, this is YA fantasy. There's a type of magic that I think is frowned upon, that our protagonist has, that she's concealing. There's also a war, I believe, going on. So I am really intrigued for this one, although it does feel like it could be quite heavy, but it's YA, so it shouldn't be too heavy. I feel it's going to be like that real good, like fast-paced, like gripping reading. And also it would be reading another of my book boxes books, which is something that I'm wanting to do. So that's a possibility. Also went to the library and I've got a couple of books that I'm really interested in. So this is the Red Pencil, which I have never heard of. It was one of those really fun things when you're in the library and you're looking for something and you're like, I've not heard of you before. I'm quite interested to see what your story is. So this is by Andrea Davis Pickney, and it is a story of a family in, I think it was Lebanon. Okay, it says here, it says South Darfur in Africa, and there is a map, which I now can't find. Sudan. It's in Sudan. So we've got this map, and then we have got this is the area that she's speaking of. So South Darfur is this bit here. So I have not read any books about North Africa. I read quite a few books last year that were set in Nigeria, and I really enjoyed them. But I realised, like, oh, I also had some other books, and they were also set in Nigeria. So I'm like, I really want to read some books that are set in other countries. So this would be really want to read this one, because it is about immigration, and it is about sort of like a family's life and how it's kind of this upheaval, and then kind of the how this sort of like they find kind of hope in a difficult hard situation. And I didn't realise until I started flipping through that it's a middle grade novel in verse, which is awesome because I love a novel in verse. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And my final option is the Passing Playbook. So this follows a trans man or boy, youth, a trans youth. He has gone to a new school, and because he'd previously been bullied, so he's like, fresh start, here we go. But then I think there's a danger of him being outed. I think he's doing some sort of like matchmaking things, and it just sounded really interesting, and I'm wanting to read more books about trans protagonists, so I want to kind of improve my knowledge of trans stories. So this is definitely one that I'm interested in. So, oh, and it's by Isaac Fitzsimmons. So, deciding which one to add to the pile, I'm going to be sensible about this, because I'm hoping that I get to finish these and read some other ones as well, because there are lots that I do want to read, but it's just ones which will kind of be more my priority. So also I've got Dragon Keeper on here, so I think that'll be like 500 pages. So the next biggest one is my middle grade Amari. But I feel like both Augustown and the Prey of Gods could be sort of potentially heavy in terms of their content and storyline. So actually, I've only got one middle grade on there, and I want to read more middle grade. I'm going to go for the Red Pencil. There we go. Done. So we have the red pencil, we have Prey of Gods. Let me do this properly. Let me move these out of the way and I'll go through it properly. And you can be my placeholder for Dragon Keeper. Okay, here we go. Ta-da! The pile of books. So Dragon Keeper, which never can remember my prompts after I've done them all. That was a royalty theme. That was a theme card and it was royalty. Then we had Augustown, which was the Shelterbox book club. Then we have Binti, which was a small book from the prompt. Then we had Amari from... What was that one from? What was Amari? Oh, no. I can't remember what the prompt was for Amari, but I've got Amari in the Great Game, Prey of Gods, which was from the Lucky Dip, and then the red pencil, which was an author you've never read from before. So those are my 6 books that I need to read in order to get a reward this month. But I'm definitely going to also try and read the Passing Playbook as well, probably Blood Scion. I would also like to read, so I have this book here, also from the library, don't fall, called Joyful Joyful, which is a collection of short stories which celebrate Black voices. And one of the reasons I picked this up was because, let's see if I can find their name. Talk amongst yourselves because I'm not pausing now. Diddly 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 dee. Wow, I am really taking a long time to find this name. Oh, this is so annoying. Okay, well there was an author in here. There was a book I wanted to read by this author, which is not out yet. And then I wanted to read other works by them. So, and this was one of the books that it listed. So I'm really keen to read them and just stories in general because I thought having some Black joy for Blackathon would be a good thing to have in there. So let's have a look and see if my books are hitting the Blackathon prompt. So also, yeah, Riot Baby is another book that I might be adding to this, as well as Hunger of the Gods. We'll see what happens. So my charming protagonist. So I did have 2 in mind, but Amari was the main one I was thinking. So that's number 1. This is my charming protagonist with fantastical abilities, because she does. A protagonist who is mixed race and or an immigrant. I did have another one in mind, but the protagonist from the red pencil is I think she's an immigrant. If not, I will pick up the other one that I had in mind. That is Homegoing by... Totally forgotten the name of the author, but it's a book I need to earn, so I need to make sure I get healthy points in order to get Homegoing out from under my bed. But that definitely, I think, has both immigration and mixed race in there because it follows generations in there. So, yes. And then a book set in Jamaica, that is Augustown. And a book centering on a tight-knit group of unlikely allies, that is the Prey of Gods. So this is my Blackathon prompts, and all of them fit my TBR, so that's great, apart from Riot Baby. So yeah, I'm really pleased, really pleased with all of my book choices for this month. Yay! Now to read. Please tell me what you are going to be reading this month. Let me know if you're taking part in any readathons, especially if you're taking part in Blackathon. And also, if you have any thoughts and opinions on any of the books I have mentioned, then please do let me know in the comments. You know I love to chat. Happy reading, everyone.